There are a number of oil and gas job opportunities in Kenya that you can be able to tap into. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 key areas where you can be able to get or secure your oil and gas job in Kenya by understanding also how the entire oil and gas industry works in Kenya. And this is important if you are interested or seeking a job in the oil and gas industry in Kenya. You need to be able to understand where you can be able to get that opportunity or where the oil and gas job opportunities exist across the entire oil and gas value chain in Kenya. Oil and gas industry is very old in Kenya. It has been there for a while, over the last 100 years. Because the first importation of petroleum products actually happened back in 1905. But over the years, that has continued to grow, including getting into the oil and gas exploration, which started in 1950s. So the oil and gas industry continues to play a very big role when it comes to the economy of the country. It is actually a major input factor in various sectors that can end up affecting very many aspects of how the economy performs, especially given that we are a net importer of petroleum products as a country. So if you are a beginner or someone who is interested in an oil and gas job opportunity in Kenya, you need to be able to understand these dynamics, but more importantly, you need to know where you can look for when it comes to getting an oil and gas job in Kenya. And to start, you need first to understand that oil and gas in Kenya is divided into 3 key segments. You have the upstream sector, you have the midstream sector, and you have downstream oil and gas industry. Those 3 sectors constitute what you can call to be an oil and gas value chain in Kenya. And each of these sectors has oil and gas job opportunities that you can actually get into. There are jobs that you can do. They can be technical, others non-technical, as well as commercial oil and gas jobs. So let us look into each of these segments so that you can be able to have an idea of what probably is expected of you or kind of oil and gas jobs that you can get, or at least you can have a clue of how to go about when you are looking for an oil and gas job in Kenya. Knowing these 3 segments is critical because it helps you in terms of deciding the kind of an oil and gas job that you want. Do you want an oil and gas job in the upstream? Do you want it in the midstream? Do you want it in the downstream sector? Knowing that informs the decision that you are going to make in terms of what skills that you need to get, what studies that you need to make, probably where you can even go for internship or where you can go looking for those jobs. Because if you are not aware of opportunities or you are not aware of the sectors, you might not be able to actually look for an oil and gas job effectively in the oil and gas industry in Kenya. And it can be very confusing when you do not know where to look at, when you do not know where to go. So let me first start with probably one of the most popular oil and gas subsector in Kenya, and that is downstream. Downstream oil and gas industry relates to actually dealing with the finished petroleum products. If you are to think of it from a point of a product, you are dealing with the finished product. You can have the raw material, then have it processed, and then have the finished product. The downstream oil and gas industry is probably one that you are already aware of, because if you have a car, you have gone to a petrol station to fuel. You have probably gone to change oil for your car. All those things are in the downstream aspect of the entire oil and gas value chain. You are dealing with a finished product. I do not know about you, but probably in the course of your life, maybe in the village or even if you are living in a town, you have probably bought or used kerosene for whatever reason. That is also a byproduct or a finished product of the oil and gas value chain. There are quite a number of other things that you use on a day-to-day basis that are derived from oil and gas. So all those things constitute the downstream oil and gas subsector. Now, there are very many jobs that you can do in this particular subsector, And you need to be clear on what you want to actually do. You can be employed at an oil marketing company. You can be employed maybe as a petrol station attendant. You can be employed in other areas that are technical within the downstream oil and gas sector. So you need to be able to know all those things and be able to seek an opportunity based on the research and information that you have done regarding the downstream oil and gas sector. The other area that also has numerous oil and gas job opportunities in Kenya is the midstream oil and gas segment. The midstream oil and gas industry deals with the processing and transportation of oil, either from the oil fields where it is being drilled and produced, or moving it from the refinery all the way to the petroleum stations or to the consumer. So when you talk of a midstream oil and gas industry, you are looking at actually the stage where the raw material, which is crude oil, is processed into a finished product. So that entire chain contains what you would call the midstream oil and gas sector. And it comes with oil and gas jobs that you can be able to tap into within that subsector. You can work at a refinery. We used to have one in Changamwe. Now it is closed. It is a storage facility under the care of Kenya Pipeline Corporation. You can work dealing with issues related to the pipeline. You can work at Kenya Pipeline, among other organizations or among other laws within this particular subsector. Oil and gas job opportunities in the midstream oil and gas sector in Kenya are various and they are valid. They require different skills, different expertise, different certification, and you need to be able to know that that is the area that you want to get a job in, and then work backwards or reverse engineer in the form of what is required so that you can be able to secure a job in that sector. Again, you are going to get technical jobs, non-technical jobs, as well as commercial jobs. And when I talk about commercial oil and gas jobs, I'm talking with, business or art-related oil and gas opportunities. Oil and gas job opportunities that do not require you to be technical in terms of this particular sector. And now let us look at oil and gas job opportunities in the upstream oil and gas sector in Kenya. The upstream oil and gas sector in Kenya deals with the exploration or looking for oil and gas and production of oil and gas in Kenya. It is very new because for a lot of people, and probably I would assume even for you, you did not know that this sector even existed before you heard of oil in Turkana. So that whole sector of looking for oil and gas and producing it has been ongoing in Kenya since 1950s. In fact, the first well in Kenya was drilled in 1956, and over the next couple of decades up to where we are now, a number of wells have been drilled across the oil and gas basins in Kenya. Oil and gas basins here, I'm talking about areas in terms of geology where oil and gas can be found. And the upstream oil and gas sector is actually a very huge sector when you look at it in terms of dollar value across the board. It is actually what forms the entire value chain, because if you do not get oil, if oil and gas is not drilled and produced, then you cannot have midstream and you cannot have downstream oil and gas sectors. So you need it to be able to feed the entire value chain. And in Kenya, there are also oil and gas jobs that you can be able to get in this subsector. There are many. There are technical again, non-technical, and commercial oil and gas jobs that you can get. It is upon you to also be able to be clear in terms of what you want to do. Do you want to become a petroleum engineer? Do you want to become a geologist? Do you want to play the role of a geophysicist? What role exactly do you want to play when it comes to the upstream oil and gas in Kenya? Being able to have that clarity is going to help you when it comes to devising a strategy of what you need to do to be able to get an oil and gas job in the upstream oil and gas sector in Kenya. Being able to get an oil and gas job in Kenya can be an opportunity for you to start building your professional career across the oil and gas value chain. And I would encourage you to take time to actually do research and understand how the oil and gas industry works. Read more about the three segments of the oil and gas industry in Kenya. Learn the job opportunities that are available across the oil and gas value chain, and what skills, what certification, the kind of courses or studies that you need to actually undertake to be able to get a job in the oil and gas industry. This is critical if this is something that you want to do. And I know you may have a lot of questions about this, which I would encourage you to drop that question on the comment section below so that you can be able to learn more about how you can be able to get a job in the oil and gas industry in Kenya. If you have enjoyed this particular video, I would encourage you to watch the video on your screen right now. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not, and I will see you in the next video.